got to get up every day and get better every day. That's how that goes. So if you can't do that because of your fear of failure, again, this is not the platform for you. So what are some of the causes of fear of failure? Critical upbringing. I lived in a toxic household. Growing up in a household that is critical or unsupportive because you feel like you can't live up to your family's expectations during childhood. So then you continue to make fear making mistakes as an adult. So I grew up in an environment where my grandfather, who served in World War II, didn't become a Buffalo soldier, which is part of the reason why I became an officer, and my Uncle Jerry were the people that had to approve of whatever you were doing. So I have an older sister who's 3 years older than me. It's myself, my cousin who was a year younger than me, then another cousin that's a couple more years. And so what happened was the standard was raised very, very high for my sister and I. And my cousin, whose parents were in the military, they moved back to Detroit in 1984. And as he got older, the standards got lower and lower for the boys, the men in our family, but they were still extremely high for my sister and I. I went to Michigan State for my freshman year, and when I came home for Christmas, my grades were bad. And my grandfather, my uncle came over for Christmas, and I showed them my grades, and they were pissed. So much so that my mother was in the back of the house, and by the time she came to the front of the house, Dee Dee from the D showed up and said, "Fuck both of y'all, get the fuck out of our house." So that Christmas didn't go well because you don't tell the patriarch of the family, "Fuck you," and leave. But they weren't there and they didn't know. And at some point, I'll say what took place, some things that took place in Michigan State. This is not the venue for that. But let's just say I needed to keep a 2.5 to keep my scholarship, and my scholarship was in jeopardy at that point. And what I needed was support, but what I got was critiques. And so now, being the most educated person in my family, I got silence. Mum's the word. Ain't nobody got nothing to say now, but they got a bunch of stuff to say back then. So your critical upbringing. My sister and I both had to get A's and B's, but I went to a CTA high school and she went to the local high school up the street. But somehow my grades still needed to stay up with no support, no desk, no silence, no library time or nothing. But I'm still supposed to perform at these very high levels with ballers coming to our house and parents on drugs and everything else. But you better make sure you still get good grades. How? How is that supposed to happen? I made it happen. That's why Cam makes the impossible possible. Swim upstream and persevere during times of adversity are all 74 principles of real leadership. But I say to people all the time, you couldn't walk down the stairs in the shoes in the hand that I was dealt in life. Your ass be like, "Here, take these shoes, get these cards. I'm out. I'm going back to my situation." Ain't no way you would have started from where I started and ended where I ended and all of the stuff in between and still be vertical, not addicted to drugs or alcohol, sane, and not trying to plot somebody's untimely demise. It wouldn't happen. So your critical upbringing is causing you to have a fear of failure. Okay, the next one is definitions of failure. So people have different definitions of failure. People decide, for some it means not achieving something exactly as planned, and this can create a set of expectations that's very difficult to live up to. So my definition of failure might not be your definition of failure. I'm at a point in my life where I've achieved a lot, so my standard of excellence is way up here. So if I have a day and I don't post on, and it's not happening, but if I don't post on all my social media platforms in the story and in the feed based upon my notebook, which I've shown y'all before here. So I track everything that I post. I track everything that I post and everything that I've done. And I write down all of my stuff when I do a journal. All of that is in this notebook. So if I have a day, and what you saw was I didn't have time to write it down, but I still posted. So if I don't post the amount of times that I've set for myself on social media, then that's a failing day. There was a time when I only posted once on social media, and this was long before stories came. And now I post about 85 times a day because I got rid of my Facebook account. Well, I got locked out of it and decided I wasn't getting back in because it was time to let that motherfucker go. I hate Facebook anyway. And I mean that with every fiber of my being. Anyway, so the point is, it used to be 105, but now 105 to 114 posts a day. Got rid of Facebook, and now it's 85 times a day across all my social media platforms. And so for me, if I post 60 times, that's a failed day because I know what I'm capable of doing on a daily basis in the midst of everything that I have. So your definition of failure to somebody may look like success, but somebody else, it may look like failure. So if you have your own definition of failure, you could actually be succeeding but then feel like a failure because you might even be comparing yourself to somebody else, and don't do that in life.